Hey, it's Dr. Shawn Nabors, West Michigan anxiety specialist, and I am coming to you from downtown Kalamazoo. I am downtown doing some maintenance social anxiety exposures. They have gone pretty well. So, what I try to do, or what I do, not try, I put myself in situations to talk to people that I know are going to make me uncomfortable, and I focus on managing thoughts before I speak to the person. As I'm speaking to the person, I will focus on tolerance techniques for my anxiety and just letting it be. The main thing that people do wrong when they're trying to deal with emotions is they fight it. So ultimately, you want to get to a point where you are allowing that anxiety just to be and you're functioning while anxious. I have had 3 conversations, all have been pretty uncomfortable, but that discomfort is something that I'm very used to, and that's where the growth is with anxiety, is getting comfortable doing the uncomfortable. I think I'll try to find one more conversation to have with someone here in, I didn't get my location, but here in beautiful downtown Kalamazoo. So I'll find one more person and call my social anxiety maintenance exposures a wrap. Now, another important thing after you talk to someone is you have to manage the rumination, because our brains are quick to ruminate on the interaction that we just had, pointing out how awkward we were or how the person perceived us. And the best way to manage rumination is to realize that it's just going to happen. You cannot not ruminate. I like to use an indifference approach to rumination. So whatever I'm ruminating on, my response is maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I came off awkward, maybe I didn't. I don't know. Because the perceptions that I'm ruminating on are unique to the person. So I don't know what that person's thinking. I'll never know what they're thinking. So I need to be indifferent to whatever stories that my brain's telling me. If you do not use it, you will lose it. So social anxiety is always going to be uncomfortable for you if your primary response to it is avoidance. Social anxiety is a huge constant in my life, and it is something that I need consistent exposure to maintain my progress. And I enjoy it. I enjoy making myself feel uncomfortable and then flexing with that discomfort. So the more you're able to put yourself in situations to flex with the discomfort, your brain will start to register that trigger as habitual. So something that is going to be experienced again. And when you do experience it again, most likely it's going to be encountered with slightly less distress, but you're going to have a lot more mental tolerance for that trigger rather than wanting to frantically escape it. I am going to a city center market to get some lunch. There are skills specifically that I use when socializing, and I will make a different video on those skills. Essentially, those skills are to help you to be more receptive to the experience of anxiety while also being more present in the moment with who you're talking to. All right, so the glasses are off because I just got done doing another social exposure, and I like to do this one. I just got some food at the market, City Center Cafe here in downtown Kalamazoo. The exposure that I do is I make sure that there's not enough money on my card. So my card will be declined. And I do that intentionally to help me to get exposure to the embarrassment of that. So once the card is declined, I'll simply put money on the card. Obviously, I'll make sure that no one's behind me, so I'm not holding the line up. But I will put money on the card and pay for my food, but the embarrassment is still there. So with social anxiety, the primary fears with social anxiety is a fear of humiliation, judgment, embarrassment. People just are not willing to experience those things who deal with social anxiety. So exposing yourself to embarrassment is an important component of maintaining your social anxiety. Now, once the card is declined, my main focus is to make sure that I'm not trying to make any excuses about the card being declined, but just flex with the embarrassment. So in exposure therapy, that's called response prevention. So I am preventing myself from making that situation less anxious and just dealing with the embarrassment. Afterwards, obviously I'm going to ruminate. Just putting my food away. I'm going to ruminate afterwards on the embarrassment, and it's important that I'm indifferent to that embarrassment. What does indifference to that embarrassment look like? It looks like me acknowledging every possibility through a phrase that I like to call neutralizing thoughts or neutralizing beliefs. And that sounds like maybe, maybe not. I don't know. So maybe the lady thought that I have no money, or maybe she didn't think that. I don't know. Typically, I don't ruminate too much anymore because I know that I'm going to be indifferent to whatever I'm ruminating on. But I still do ruminate. And any ruminations that are really bothering me, I will ensure that indifference is my only response. We want to never get caught up in the stories of our rumination, but we always want to be indifferent to them. I've had 4 or 5 social interactions. All were uncomfortable. I ruminated after all of them. And during all of those encounters, I ensured that I was not resisting the anxiety, that I was being flexible to it. And after all of those encounters, I ruminated after every single one, and I ensured that I was indifferent to those responses. Now, I'll try to possibly capture an interaction. However, recording people without their consent is not really great. So if I do, it's going to be someone who I might be familiar with, and just let them know beforehand that I am recording. Now, how often should you be doing social exposures? That depends on your level of what you feel your social tolerance is, the tolerance for the anxiety that you will experience. I have a very high tolerance to socializing, and so about once or twice a month, I will put myself in social situations that make me uncomfortable for maintenance. If you have a very low tolerance to social anxiety, I would highly recommend that you do some type of social exposure every other day, at least one interaction every other day. Now, before you start your social exposure, it is important that you do some thought work beforehand. Now, the thought work that you want to do beforehand, that was a FedEx truck hitting a stop sign. There we go. The thought work that you want to do beforehand is really acknowledging what is most likely going to happen. What is most likely going to happen is you will be very uncomfortable as you are starting your social exposures. You're going to be extremely anxious approaching people. you're also going to be very anxious talking to people. And that's something that is just going to be. And you have to own that. So it's important to mentally walk through, in your mind, walk through the process of approaching someone and talking to them, and imagine yourself extremely uncomfortable, and then imagine yourself flexing and coping with that discomfort. Flexing is the most important thing. The way that I teach my clients to flex with anxiety is through a series of acceptance statements. So I will say things like, I accept my anxiety. I do not need it to go away. And I'll follow that by saying, again, I accept my anxiety, but I'll then say, I can continue. So let's break down the last parts of those acceptance phrases. I don't need it to go away, and I can continue. I don't need it to go away is sending a subconscious message to your brain not to fight the anxiety. You do not need it to go away. I can continue is sending a message also to your brain to not engage in any safety behaviors or avoidance behaviors. You can continue while anxious. That's how you build that tolerance. So without saying I can continue, you may be prone to doing some safety behaviors or avoiding during your exposure rather than continuing. Now, acceptance is a process. It's not something that happens from saying that you accept. You have to be committed to reminding yourself that you do accept your anxiety. And through repetition, that's how acceptance starts to actually happen naturally. With repetition of accepting your anxiety, you will actually start to, over time, become a person who is more inclined to accept it rather than fight it. So if you feel that you're saying the acceptance phrases, but you truly aren't accepting of it, just think of that as part of the process. Eventually, you will move from saying your acceptance statements in a state of resistance, and you'll move slowly to actually accepting the discomfort. All right, I'm going to throw myself into an exposure. There's a cigar shop here. I know the owner pretty well, so we're on a first name basis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate a skill called curiosity, and I'm going to demonstrate a skill called hyperfocus. So hyperfocus and curiosity. I may also demonstrate a skill called relevancy. So I will highlight somehow for you guys when I'm using those skills. And those skills help me keep me grounded. So my anxiety is increasing because I know I'm about to go in here and talk to someone. So I'm flexing right now, flexing, and still flexing. Excuse me. Hyperfocus. Hello. I have some questions for you.
65 and 72.
Okay, so 65 is what?
Whatever you said the question, there's the answers.
What type of, I have no premium cigar that I go to.
Okay.
I'm looking for a go-to premium cigar.
And what do you like? Mild, medium, full body?
Well, as you once jokingly said, I like the girly.
cigar.
I like the girly. I want something girly that's premium.
But do you want a flavor then?
Yeah, I do like a.
That ain't premium, brother.
Okay, I want a flavor cigar that's premium for me.
All right.
But technically, it's not premium. But I do like the Arturo Fuentes. I have to admit.
That's where I would go if you know.
Okay.
Those, did you try the Macanudos that I have? Them Macanudos is in the top.
Premium with some flavor in it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have never tried those before.
Those are good. Now, So we got honey. This is like Irish Baileys and Irish cream.
Okay.
This is vanilla.
Vanilla?
That's bourbon. That's like a coffee Kahlua.
Ooh, okay. So this one is, what is this one again?
Irish cream. Like
Irish cream?
Baileys.
Okay, I'll do Irish cream, and I'll do the vanilla one.
I would get this one. These are like, these I saw the most.
And what flavor is that one again?
I don't know, coffee kind of Kahlua.
It's got a sweet smell to it, so I like it.
So either one.
Coffee Kahlua, and I'll try this. I'll try these two.
Maybe.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Well, we have it.
I will. I'll take a receipt too if that's not too much
Really?
trouble for you.
What do you do with that damn thing?
For my taxes. I'm just joking. It's a habit.
All right.
Take care. All right, so automatically I am ruminating after that interaction. Did I say something stupid? Did I come off as awkward? Did I ask dumb questions? That's kind of, did I say something stupid? Does he think I'm weird? Did I do something embarrassing? So that's what I'm automatically ruminating on immediately after that interaction. And my response to all of the above is maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I came off as awkward. Maybe I didn't. I have no idea. Maybe he thinks I'm weird. Maybe he doesn't. I have no idea. I could go and ask him. I still wouldn't know. And so it's important to remain indifferent to those thoughts and not go down the rabbit holes that they're taking you. Now, people may ask, well, why would you acknowledge things that you don't want to acknowledge? Like, you could have come off as awkward. Because it's true. I could have come off as awkward. That is a real possibility. And it's something that I have to accept as a potential outcome of socializing, is I may come off as awkward. And a lot of us try to do as much as possible to not have that happen, but sometimes we're not in control of the way that we present. And we need to have a tolerance for that. Well, I am going to wrap up my social exposures for today. I spent about 40 minutes downtown engaging with people, and my parking meter is almost up as well. So I do not want to get a lovely ticket from the city of Kalamazoo. All right, quick disclosure. Smoking is bad. However, that guy I do know pretty well, and so he owns a cigar shop, and I wanted to give you guys an experience of me actually doing a social exposure, and so that was one of the only places that I could go that I didn't know the person pretty well. So hyperfocus was a skill I talked about. As I was entering the cigar shop, I was having a lot of anxiety, which I'm used to experiencing. And so I did some quick acceptance focus. I accept my anxiety. I don't need it to go away. I accept my anxiety. I can continue. As soon as I walked into the cigar shop, I started hyper-focusing. So hyper-focus is, what do I notice beyond the obvious? So there are cigars everywhere. That's obvious. But what do I notice beyond the obvious? After that, I go into curiosity. So I did notice a few people in there. I noticed the owner and what he was doing. Looked like he was doing some bookkeeping or some slight maintenance with his cigar shop. And then I went into curiosity. So curiosity is, they are natural things that I'm curious about, and I will focus on those throughout the conversation. Natural things I'm curious about. So what was I naturally curious about? He is a, I don't know what you call it, connoisseur. He's definitely very versed in cigars. the times that I do smoke cigars, I do like a sweeter flavor. And I know he's an expert in that. And so I was very curious to get his opinion about what he thought. So curiosity is what I used. And I also use relevancy. So relevancy is the things that I'm curious about, how are they relevant to me? And I share those things with the people I'm talking to. So I shared with him, and I did have to stop the recording momentarily. There were some other customers that came in and I didn't want to get them on camera. But the relevancy I shared was just about my own preference for sweet flavored cigars versus non-sweet, and things of that nature. So, and then right after that, I resumed the recording because that person that left, and then that's when you guys saw me exit the cigar shop and start to debrief about the rumination that I was experiencing. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I would call this a very successful social exposure for me. I haven't done one in a while. It's been probably 2 months. I know it's time to do social exposures when I want to avoid people for no other reason besides avoiding them. So it's time to build that tolerance back up. If this is the part where I will just advocate for working with a specialist and plug my field. So anxiety specialists are all over the country. There's not a lot of us in each state. Typically there's 1 to 4 practices in each state that just focus on anxiety. If you are struggling with anxiety, it is important that you work with a specialist. That is not to say that a general therapist can't help you. It's just that a specialist is going to help you gain traction a lot quicker in resolving your anxiety. Also, working with a generalist is probably going to have you focusing more on symptom management than actually building your tolerance to the anxiety, which ultimately is the only way for you to be able to handle your anxiety long term, is that you have a really good tolerance for it. Symptom management is hit or miss. Sometimes you're going to feel great, other times you're not going to feel great, and there's nothing you can do about it. Your anxiety is just not going to cooperate with you. So it's really important that you learn how to flex with it so that no matter how high it gets, you don't need it to go away and you can continue. So as always, you guys, thank you for stopping by. My name is Dr. Shawn Nabors, West Michigan Anxiety Specialist, and take care.